Today I'm going to be showing you how I make the UCO replacement candles using beeswax. The reason that I use beeswax is because it has a longer burn time, and that's also part of the reason why the candles that UCO sells are a little more expensive, but you can make them out of any candle material. Just follow these steps and melt the wax of your choice. I'm going to be using a silicone molding mix. I'll have the link in the description. And basically you want to have a container that's slightly larger than your candle. In this case, I'm using an empty vanilla bottle that I had laying around. And you're going to mix the part A and part B following the instructions. It's pretty much 1-to-1 ratio. And once you have it mixed, you're just going to pour it over, or not over, but mostly around your candle. But before that, I'm going to put a rag so I don't ruin my table. This is a bit difficult doing while trying to record at the same time, so I'm going to try to focus a little bit better. But you're pretty much putting the mixture all around the candle. It's okay if it gets on top of the candle. It is silicone, so it will come off and it won't ruin your candle. This is a brand new candle that came with my Candelier, and as you'll see at the end, the candle does not get damaged. Now what I found is that the candle becomes buoyant once you put the solution in, so I was trying to keep it down, and once I pretty much had it where I want it to be centered, then the best thing I found was actually wrapping it around with some tape. So once it's all set, tape it down, and you want to leave this, the instruction says for 6 hours, but I pretty much left it overnight, and we're just gonna let this dry. Now it's been about 12 hours, so now we're going to go through the process of demolding the candle, and this could be a little tricky, so you just want to pretty much tug at it and wiggle it around until eventually the candle does come out. So I took it out of screen for a little bit, but you'll see that with a little push, once you get the top to come out, then it's easier to pull from the top. Now that the top is mostly out, it's pretty much just wiggling it out, and from here it's pretty easy. So this is how our mold came out, and since it's silicone, you can stretch it and it'll always go back to its original form. Now we're going to take a candle wax and we're going to put it into the mold. Sorry, I meant to say a candle wick. So we're going to put the candle wick into the mold, and we're going to melt some of the beeswax that we have. So I estimate this is about a 1/3 cup of wax. And the good thing about this is that if you use too much or you melt too much, it'll get dry and you can always reuse it. So once it's all melted, we're going to put the stick that came with the wicks, and this just keeps it centered and in place. So luckily I have a silicone funnel laying around, so I was able to use it and make less of a mess. As you can see, I had started and it started to drip everywhere, so I definitely recommend using a silicone funnel to get your wax in. Now, some of the research that I did on the beeswax is that it actually has a clean burn, so you're not going to have much smoke or anything that's going to be bad for your health. It also cancels bad ions, which is great, plus, and it has a longer burn time. So I definitely like using the beeswax, but if I don't have beeswax handy, then any candle wax will do. Now I'm going to take the funnel off of the mold, and I'm going to put the entire thing in the refrigerator for about an hour or two. You want to make sure that the candle is completely set when you put it in the refrigerator, because you don't want it to break apart when you're trying to demold. Now I'm going to put the stick just to keep everything centered and in place, and this will cool off completely. Once it's cooled off, then you're going to demold. Now you can see I made a mess, but the good thing about silicone is that you can just pretty much lift it up and reuse when you make a candle, your next candle. So now comes the fun part. We're going to try to demold the candle same way we did with the original candle. We're just going to tug at it and pretty much try to release as much as you can. Once you get to the top, it's a little bit easier, so you're just going to pretty much pull. But you want to make sure, this is why you want to make sure your candle's completely dry, because if it's soft and you start pulling, then it's going to pretty much be too soft, lose its shape, and even break. So finally, here we have the finished product. As you can see, it is pretty much the same as the original candles, same width, height, length. And we just want to cut the top of the wick. And here's a side by side. Now I'm going to be reviewing the Candelier as well. A lot of people don't want to buy it or don't consider it because of the cost of the candles are so high. So this is an alternative to making your own candles and saving a little bit of money. Also, if it becomes unavailable, you always have a way of making your own candles. So make sure to subscribe and follow for more DIY tips.